Ascot just around the corner, the most iconic meeting there is globally as far as horse racing is concerned. This man's been up past the winner's enclosure on a few occasions, and we're going to find out about the track at Ascot. Is it fair? Is it galloping? And what the whole Royal Ascot week is like. As far as the track is concerned, Oisin, is it fair?
I think so, Jason. Often during the Royal Ascot meeting, racing pundits like yourself will say you need to be in a certain place on this course. Often it's where the pace is. You know from riding yourself, you're at an advantage following speed horses, and this is special. I'm looking forward to Royal Ascot. Everyone wants to ride winners here. There's a certain pressure attached because although you're riding good horses, it's very competitive, and all you want to do is win.
OK, now the straight track you mentioned, very fair.
Absolutely, you can see down the course there, beautiful surface, very wide and spacious, but everyone needs a little bit of luck in running because you get large fields here.
And of course it is very tricky on the round course as well, and we'll be having a look at some of the difficulties here at Ascot for the jockeys. The weighing room, the atmosphere in there, is it different for the Royal meeting?
It can be a bit different, Jason. Everyone's a little bit more nervous, a bit tense, I suppose, particularly if you've got decent rides on the day. And also you've got a good few international lads come over, the French and the American boys, and they often have winners here.
Black Caviar needs the line. He's easing up on her. Oh, he did, he blew it.
The last thing you want is to have no luck, and yeah, certainly I feel you know, everyone has a fair go at it.
A lot of the races, the distance races, if you like, at Ascot, nobody seems to notice how much the ground runs away from you down here.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty noticeable, and particularly if you're on a keen one, Jace, because you're going downhill, they can be a bit fresh. All you want to do is get them relaxed as quickly as you can, and it can be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, and so if you're drawn wide, I always think, you know, it must be incredibly tough to even find a position.
Yeah, I mean, if you jump well and there's pace on, often it's easy to get into a rhythm straight away. But it's when they go slow and you're drawn wide and you want to take your time and you get stuck wide, no cover, that's far from ideal.
And the class of horse is also key, because sometimes you think you're racing each week, you get into a rhythm. Here, the horses can go fairly quick and keep going because the class is so good.
Absolutely. I mean, even a normal day at Ascot here tends to attract decent quality horses, and Royal Ascot meeting best horse in the world.
Now, down that bottom end, if you haven't got a position by the time you get to that kink, if you're caught 3 or 4 wide, you're going to need to be very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's never ideal to get stuck wide on any track, but the fact is on the round course it's pretty swoop and bend the whole way down the back and before you turn into the straight, so the closer you can get to the inside, the better.
And of course the shouting from the riders, bit of a noisy part of the track.
Yeah, plenty of noise. I think if we had microphones on, you'd probably have to press the mute button.
Royal Ascot as a spectacle, do you really feel the vibe from the crowd?
Absolutely, and even when you arrive here, people are having picnics and as you leave as well. And unfortunately, as you know, as we're riding here every day, we don't really get to take part in all that. But it looks like a fantastic day out.
Yates is not for catching. All class, 4 Gold Cups for Yates.
I used to watch kind of the Ballydoyle horses here every year and focus on them. Kieran Fallon, Mick Canaan, and later Joseph O'Brien. That's before I really got my chance to race ride myself, and look, it's the most important week of the year. All you want to do is ride a winner here. It's a huge relief when and if you do get one on the board.
Ben Battle leads the way. Ben Battle, Order of the Garter, and Ben Battle sees them off.
So we're at Swinley Bottom. It's always referenced by the commentator, one of the most famous parts of any racecourse. And this long sweeping bend, it looks pretty tricky.
Yeah, that bend can ride pretty sharp, Jason. You want to be as close to the rail as you can, saving ground and kind of setting your race up from here, because we're about 7 furlongs from home. It runs slightly downhill once you straighten, and then it's a good climb into the turn, and the whole way around the turn. Good horses compete here, Jason, and it sets the ordinary ones to the top class apart.
And if we were to look back down there, that's the chute, if you like, the mile chute, famous St James's Palace start. Now, it is notably tricky, isn't it, for the jockeys? I don't think they like it a lot.
Thankfully, we actually don't use the round mile here that often. Straight mile is much easier ride. The problem is here, although you have a long time to get organised, you're always afraid to drop to the fence, pace may slow up, and the last thing you want to do is get stuck behind a bad one before the race really gets going.
What's it like walking through the gates now you're riding at the highest level, when you're suited and booted to the nines and you stride on through the crowd into the inner sanctum of the weighing room? You must be in heaven.
I don't know, you want to get in and hide yourself away as quickly as possible, because you know, there's a lot of pressure built up around the week, and it's the pinnacle really, so you just want things to go right.
Your first winner at Royal Ascot, can you remember it like yesterday?
Absolutely, Ben Battle in the Hampton Court Stakes. He's been very good to me. He's given me 2 Group 1 winners since, and obviously I've continued this association with Saeed, who's done marvellous things for my career.
The home turn, you found your position, you're in a rhythm. The taps are just starting to be turned up a little bit. The pressure cooker from the 3-pole.
This is where the action starts. You want to have plenty of petrol at this stage. Hopefully make your move between the 3 and the 2, but around the 2.5 is when it really straightens up, Jace. That's when you ask the question.
Now, the fairest part of the racetrack, or one of the best starts anyway, you've rattled up here in the Queen Mary, managed to win. Signora Cabello, must be a great feeling. The straight mile itself, now this has got to be fair.
Unbelievable track. I think they redid this course a couple of years ago. It often rides a little bit faster than the round course. We've spoke about Swinley Bottom earlier. That can get pretty soft there. I was lucky enough to come up this straight pretty fast on Roaring Lion in October in the QE2, and hopefully I can have a couple of fast horses to ride at Royal Ascot.
So you've come up over a slight ridge, if you like, a little climb. It nearly just levels off as we go up the straight, and then there's nearly just a little tilt, if you like, for the final furlong and 10 yards, if you like.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, Jason. Actually standing here, you get to appreciate the track. I suppose it's slightly uphill from the mile start the whole way to the 3.5 furlong, and then runs a little bit flatter, it's slightly downhill, and rises again and levels off towards the winning post. But when you're riding it, you don't notice any undulations, to be honest.
As far as this Royal Ascot, what would be a good Royal Ascot for you?
Oh, to get any winner is a huge relief, and anything after that is a bonus. I remember Doyler had 4 winners here one year, on one day actually, in fact. That's stuff of dreams, and I wouldn't be crazy enough to think that'll ever happen to me, but it's just nice to have decent rides and hopefully give them every chance to win their races.
So up well inside the final furlong, everybody wants to get to that post first. What's this part like? This is the cut and thrust.
You hope you've saved your smacks. It can be a long last furlong, and hopefully you'll hit the front around now, be ideal, and hold on to the line.
Is there an advantage one side or the other, or is this just extremely fair?
In my opinion, particularly in those handicaps, Jace, it's wherever the pace is drawn, and then obviously that creates a bias on the track. But if you're following the faster group, it's an advantage.
What do the jockeys think about when everybody's talking outside? Oh, all the pace is drawn high and that's where you need to be.
You know, people have to talk about something, and everyone's entitled to an opinion, but often it's just created.
So it's just created. We are on the fairest straight track in the world. Talking of biases, it's beautiful, but the round track here at Ascot is very tricky.